The new Guild Wars 2 post about the future of the expansion is here, and there's a lot of information about it. I already made a video about that and made my opinions known. There's one particular thing that is very interesting about this post, and that is systems. Guild Wars 2 has a lot of systems. PvP, raids, War vs. World, raids, strikes, Dragon Response missions, dungeons. There's so many. And updating them, streamlining them is a very good thing. But which ones should they focus on, and which ones can actually help with the 6 months drought we're gonna have after the expansion release? In this video, we're gonna go through the best ideas I could come up with. So, subscribe to the channel for more content like this. Go to my Ko-Fi if you want to support my content. Go to my Twitch to watch me live every morning. And let me know your ideas after the video. The first one, and arguably the most important one, is the LFG. I'm sorry guys, but the LFG in Guild Wars 2 makes no sense. Why do you have dungeons divided by literally every one of them with one category on each? Especially when every time you go for one of them, it ends up bugging out and it doesn't refresh. Why do we have every map on Living War Season and expansions as well as categories? It makes no sense. Instead of doing it in this way of where they take place, I think it would be way better if it worked in terms of gameplay. You have one category for achievements, one for story, one for metas, one for fishing, stuff like this. And then of course, let's pretend that this here would indeed be the fishing one. You can put fishing at X place, or for this reason. This will make it so much easier for new players to understand what people do in this game and not get confused about all of this other stuff. I guess it's also important to be like, hey, maybe some people will be in different steps of the story, or they will not have some sort of part, some expansion or Living War Season, so we don't want to spoil them, and maybe there's like a little icon that tells you, hey, you do not possess this expansion, or you haven't gotten here. Are you sure you want to join this group? Something like that might actually work, but this entire thing is very confusing for new players and very annoying to use overall. Like, honestly, I'm a veteran, I guess, even though I've only played for like 4 years. But dude, this is just, it's so convoluted and annoying. The next one I think will be very good is an UI update. Right now, it's very hard to see the little icons whenever you're actually playing the game, which makes it very hard for people to actually understand how boons work. So a way of making this bigger, moving them around, would be absolutely great. They already talked a little bit about this in the post, talking about UI systems or whatever. They didn't really go into it, but I'm guessing that's what we're gonna get, or at least I hope so. Right now, I have to install an actual add-on that shows me the relics that I use, the boons that I get. I even have one for out attacks because it's super easy to see them like this instead of just having to look in the bottom of the screen. And this is very useful, but it was super nice if it actually was native, so I wouldn't have to like use an add-on that breaks every time we get a new update. The next one I want to talk about is PvP. They already talked a little bit about this in the post, but they're bringing push in the summer, which is exciting, but at the same time, it brings into question what's going to happen with Conquest. Right now, PvP, you have ranked, you have off-seasons, and you will play 2v2 or 3v3 in the off-seasons. Well, what's going to happen with push? Is it going to be the main way of ranked? Is it going to be something like Stronghold that nobody plays? Is it going to be in unranked? I think rethinking how PvP works and giving some incentives to actually play push and other types of PvP at the same time might be a very good idea. So I really hope that one of the systems that they're revisiting is gonna be PvP in its entirety, so push can actually have a spot. I still have a lot of issues with push, and I honestly don't know why they're bringing it out so fast, considering that the beta was essentially the same as last time. They barely changed anything, and I'm not really sure if it's working correctly. But I mean, I guess they'll know. And hopefully they didn't abandon it and they're just releasing it so they don't have to deal with it. Hopefully they are actually finishing it. Otherwise, it might be dead on arrival. But regardless of that, I think PvP rework in some sort of way in terms of systems and rewards would be very good for the game. Now, the next ones we're going to talk about are way more important. And why I'm saying that is because we have a content drought from the expansion release and 6 months after. In their post, of course, they say that in order for them to get better story, better quality in the story and in the maps, they're gonna not have content on the quarterly one release after the expansion. So 3 months in. This means that there's gonna be a 6-month gap between the expansion and new content. For a lot of people, I think this means that they're not gonna play the game in the middle. They're just gonna play a little bit of the expansion and they're just gonna wait until 6 months, which is completely understandable. But are there any types of systems that they could make so people have actual engagement in that quarter one mark, in those 3 months, so they can revitalize the game and have something to do for those 3 next months? I think there's a few of them, so let's see them. The first one is fractals. Fractals are very complicated right now. You have fractal relics, you have pristine fractal relics, you have an insane amount of random vendors with ascended armor and weapons that you can purchase, but you need so much in order to actually get in here because you need it for the professions from the weaponsmith and armorsmith marks. You have potions that give you more agony but also more offensive mobility and defense in the middle of the fractal. It's so convoluted, and that's without even considering the fact that you need agony to actually participate in them. A system that really doesn't make any sense. It makes it super hard to actually try new builds, not only in between characters, but also in your own character with different builds. You have to put these infusions in your gear, which you can only do on Ascended. Even though fractals should be something that most new players should try, they can't because they need agony for them. I understand that it's supposed to be like a little like you start on tier 1, tier 2, tier 3, tier 4, grinding for that agony. But I don't think it really works that way because you can just skip it anyways if you know what you're doing and you go on YouTube or whatever. So realistically, I feel like it should just be a, hey, you do each tier, maybe it could be some other type of system. Maybe you just get so many fractals done that you get some points and then you can go to the next tier and so on, instead of limiting you not only in terms of gold, but also in terms of playability for your ults. It's super annoying for me, even full legendary, and I absolutely hate agony. It does nothing for the game. It's supposed to simulate some sort of vertical progression, but vertical progression is supposed to be fun. It's supposed to give you something, not just be a limiting factor. If they go for something like a kind of roguelike scenario, kind of roguelike system in terms of fractals, where you get more powers the more you do them, or every run you get different things that you can make a better build for them, and it's just complete like just for fun. I think it could be very, very good. But at the same time, oof, I don't know if they would go for something like that. It would be an insane rebalance of the game in a lot of ways, particularly this game mode. Even though it would be very fun, I think a new fractal rework to see how, to make it work differently, to have better rewards, maybe some sort of incentive. I don't know. Something like that could really give us something to do between those 6 months. Also, they need to rethink how CMs work right now, because Jesus Christ, having to do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 CMs every day plus tier 4s is not good. So hopefully they figure out a good way of doing this. Also, they could put dungeons inside of fractals, just like what they're gonna do with raids and strikes. Just put them in here. Every lane is one more fractal, and you have more dailies and things to do. That would be very, very cool, and something that would really entertain people in 3 months. It would be crazy. The next one I want to talk about is World versus World. World versus World right now, even though it's very fun, as it always has been, it still has this issue of not having any reason to do it. Yeah, you can do it in order to get your gift of battle, in order to make your legendary, but all of that, it's very passive. You get yourself tier 6 of participation and you just wait, and you can get all the rewards because of this. There's no reason to actually go in here and blast and try and get all the map or try to win. There's no win condition. They've been talking about fixing this for a while now, and this might be one of those things that they wanted to fix in this quarter 1 update. And having a World versus World saga for those 3 months after something like that gets implemented could be very good. That being said, World vs. World has had a lot of issues lately, and people are not very happy with the state of it, even with the changes they've done. So they should definitely be very careful. They don't want to ruin it. But it could potentially be something very, very good for the game. How they're gonna do it, who knows? It's a very difficult problem to actually tackle, but I'm definitely thinking it could be something that we could use to bridge that gap of 6 months of content drought, I think. You guys get it. The next one we want to talk about is gonna be raids and strikes. They already talked about this in the post. They're gonna merge them together. But how is that gonna work? What's gonna happen with all of these rewards? And does that mean that we're gonna get daily raids? Or does it mean that we're gonna get weekly strikes? Personally, I really would like the idea of having daily raids and strikes. Realistically, the amount of people that play this game mode is very low, and it's very hard to make groups for it, just because of how Guild Wars 2 works and how complicated, boons and everything is. So making it daily would probably make it so most people play them way more. Well, not most people, but the people that do play it will play it over and over and over again. This means that there will be more gold to be made, more people to play with, and new players will have a better chance of getting into these groups, which is super, super cool. Now, what would be the limit? I probably would say that, for me, I think it would be a bit of a mixture. I would make it for a weekly reset for strikes and raids, but I would make it so it's character locked. So you can go in there and use another character and do it again if you want. That way you don't feel like you have to do daily, like all the raids in one day, every day. That's like 5 hours of content, right? A lot. So we'll definitely have to see how it ends up working, but I'm definitely excited. And I think it could definitely be something they can focus on in some way. And sure, it's coming on at the expansion release, for what I understand. But giving some sort of event for raids right at the end of the 3-month mark of Q1 would be a very, very good idea. And it could help with that content drought and us waiting until the actual new map and new story. There's one more that I think would definitely help a lot. And you guys are going to hate this one. But I do actually believe it could be very, very good for the game. And yes, that is the Halls of Monuments. Halls of Monuments was what we got in Guild Wars 1 to Guild Wars 2 to transfer or at least get some rewards from the things that we got in Guild Wars 1 to Guild Wars 2. Enabling something like this in Q1 would be a very good idea if Guild Wars 3 is coming very, very soon. I know we got the quote that says, "One of our biggest priorities right now, and likely for years to come, is untangling years of accumulated system complexity." And people think that is a confirmation that Guild Wars 2 is going to be the focus from here until many, many years. But to me, this is not only not a confirmation that that's the case, but in a lot of ways the complete opposite. Maintaining system is not really making content for a game. It doesn't mean that it's the priority, especially when there's no announcement for an expansion coming on 2026. There you go. On this post. We'll have to see next week. But to me, not reinvesting into Guild Wars 2 with this post, but putting more resources into Guild Wars 2 instead of the unannounced project to make the content better, the story better, and all this other stuff is a warning sign in a lot of ways. And having something like the Halls of Monuments in the game, in this expansion, for people to have fun, grind a lot of achievements, a lot of skins and legendaries to bring them in some sort of way, whether that is a title or some skin, into Guild Wars 3 would be such a great idea. Especially when they're making some of these systems again. Imagine if everyone is doing fractals because they got reward. Imagine if they remade strikes and raids to have better rewards at the same time. And all these things together make you want to play the game every day, and it's very profitable inside of the game. There's a lot of things to go for. And at the same time, those things that you're doing, you're striving to the same place, which is indeed Guild Wars 3. Dude, that sounds super fun. And if they do something like that, I'll be playing every day, making groups with you guys. In a lot of ways, all the systems are very, very exciting, and I really hope that they go for a lot of them. Not just, oh, we're gonna do the same thing that we did last year and just do a little bit, just maybe focus a little bit more on it, but it's the same as always. I really want some big changes on the systems so we can have something to do until the next story update. I really hope that I'm not wrong about, that I am wrong about the story not growing as much as they say in the post, about the maps not being as good as they say in that post, because they said that again. I really hope I'm wrong. I really hope that when they said in that post is right and they actually achieve it. But at the same time, if they don't, I hope they have something to supply it with, like this new systems. But let me know what you guys think. Tell me if you have any other cool ideas of systems they could bring. And yeah, I don't know. I'm very excited to see what you guys say. And hey, come onto Twitch tomorrow when we get the next teaser for the Elite Spec, and go check out my theories on my other videos. See you guys around, love you all. Subscribe to the channel. Ciao, ciao.